You can do some outrageously exciting things with your event comms when it comes to event workflows in Gecko. What we're going to do, just to illustrate in a very short amount of time what the workflows can do, is we're going to send 4 different types of communication off the back of these off our particular event. Firstly, we want to set up a registration email that sends and text message that sends a ticket to anyone who signs up. We want to send a specific email only to people who register for the financial aid seminar, giving them information on what documents they need to bring. Thirdly, irrespective of which session and session time they book onto, we want to send them a 30-minute reminder before the session begins, telling them that where the session's going to be. And finally, anyone who shows up at all to any of the sessions on the day, we want to send them a post-event survey. Let's try to set that up in 1 or 2 minutes. Let's begin by going to workflows. Now, the very first thing that we wanted to set was a workflow that says anyone who joins the event, and we can add the condition, if the status is equal to registered, then immediately, as soon as they register for the event, what we want to do is send an email. So we're adding the action of send an email to the contact's email address. It's the RSVP email that we want to send. You can preview that as well if you want to actually see that before sending it. And we also want to add another action of sending an RSVP message to them. The next workflow that we want to add is the specific one for the financial aid session. So rather than telling Gecko, in fact, we can clone this first session because this is going to be this first workflow. Rather than having the student register for this particular overall event, we can say, I'm only interested in emailing them if it's the financial aid seminar at this particular time that they're booked onto. And then if they do that, they're going to get a second email. We can actually remove this here. And that particular workflow is going to be the financial aid information session email. The next message that we want to send is a workflow which is going to send to anyone. And instead of sending immediately as soon as they register for the event, we're going to send this before the session begins. So we click on immediately and say 30 minutes before the session begins, send them a text message. And we're going to set up our comms. This is a text message, and it's going to be your session starts in 30 minutes. And we can see by previewing it here, hey, we'll pull in the name of the student, the title of the session, and exactly the location. And what we want to do here is also say that the condition is going to be that they're registered. But crucially, at the minute, this is going to say if they're registered for the overall event. What we can do, though, is we can say if the session is in this event. And to read this in plain English now, it's saying if the student is booked onto any session or session time that happens to fall within this overall event and they're registered to it, then 30 minutes before that session begins, send them this template. So this one workflow is going to trigger 4 times for anyone on any of our different session or session times. Finally, we can create one last workflow, and for this one it's nice and easy. We're going to say if the status of the student is equal to attended, i.e. they showed up, we scanned them in on the day using our Visit app, then what we want to do is after the day finishes, let's say maybe 2 hours after the event finishes, when they're on their way home, we're going to send them an email, and this is going to be the post-event survey feedback form.